Live. Okay. Welcome to another stream here at Lighting Bud. Today you can see Chris and Jeremiah is together with on the live stream from the start. That's because they are co-hosts, so why not? We were taking fun of my new green screen because if I do this, oh, I have to zoom out. If I do this, you can see the illusion is broken, and I don't want to do it too much because I don't want my camera to fall off. Because I don't know, you never know.
Just
it's an expensive camera, so like it can't zoom out too much. Oh look, there's a break in my green screen. It kind of fits the dim lighting at the moment, but I'll zoom in a little bit like this for everyone, so you guys can have a look at my beautiful face. Hey Polygon, so nice of you to join. Thank you Jeremiah for joining. As usual, Jeremiah will be active in the chat as usual because he's such a professional streamer as well. And Chris, might as well be. Who knows? We don't know what's gonna happen. So today we are going to be talking about work and life balance. So, what is work and life balance? I think that is a good starting point because people might have different definition of what is work and what is life. And suddenly, someone disappeared because his house is burning in fire because he's baking or something. Who knows? He's like work and life balance. Fuck this conversation. Now out of here.
He's logging in probably. I realized I don't have an account. So I'm like, I can't be in chat.
I closed the wrong tab.
Oh, I see.
Oh, you little noob. That did. I was like, should I be checking up on him now? Should I?
Is he okay?
Yeah.
Is
The kitchen's on fire, guys.
Is he trolling me? What's going on? All right. So we're going to talk about work and life balance, and I think a good start is for you two to define what is work and life and balance.
Do you want to start, Chris? Or you want me to-
How about you do that?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. You go right ahead.
So I guess we have to define what is work, right? And then we have to define what is life. And I think people will define those differently.
Equal.
Which is, well, equal.
Work-life.
people will define those totally differently, right? So that's
Yeah.
why like a work-life balance is kind of like difficult to define or for everyone to kind of get around. For me, it's not closing the tab of the podcast that I'm in, but it's being able to be okay with not working on stuff that you want to work on and be okay, not blaming yourself. There's a lot of pressure to like, the hustle culture hopefully is a little on the dead side now, and you just do what you want to do and have fun with it. And at some point you have to take a break, but there's so many ways you could go with this that I don't think it can really be defined, honestly.
Okay.
Is hustle culture really dead though, Jeremy?
I mean, no, not really. But
You're not hustling.
me.
You're just
no. I enjoy
built
what
different.
I just built different.
It's built different.
Hey, you watch anime. Make sure to have room for anime, video games, and life. Like if you go outside, the whole touch grass thing. Make sure to touch grass,
real.
Chris. It's not real.
I have like an artificial plot of grass, here. Look.
Made of plastic.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean you are right though. Like defining what is work is.
Is he though? Is he right? You don't disagree?
I don't know. I mean, I agree the fact that like you have to define what work is, right?
I'm gonna be the devil's advocate.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you can finish first, and then I'll talk about my philosophy about work.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like you have to define what work is to you, right? Like, so if we're talking about like work and life balance, yeah, I mean work. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've said it before, but like, I'm usually like working hard in the evenings and the weekends and during vacation is generally what I do. But since it's my work, I'm my own boss, then it doesn't feel as bad, it doesn't feel like work to me. So that's kind of my balance, like
it, right?
yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm curious now to hear what you're thinking.
For me, so it's a bit philosophical in a sense because it starts with um, work is part of life. So why is there a difference, right? It's like the same comments I hear when people say, "Oh, I have to log off and go back to real life." What are you saying? Is online life fake? What's the difference? It's still part of your everyday life. So for me, when people talk about work and life, I'm saying, why are you making it different? You spend 8 hours of your life for quite many years, which is more than you spend anything else rest of your life. You spend more time at work than you do with friends and family. So trying to separate it for me is interesting because I don't differentiate it. It's just part of my lifestyle. It's part of what I'm doing. It's part of who I am. So for me, when people talk about work and life balance, I go, "What do you mean work and life balance? Either you're doing an activity or a hobby or a passion or a duty or responsibility, or you're not doing it. There's no balance per se. But then, of course, it depends again on, are you doing something you like, or are you doing it to do something you like? Because that's where the balance comes in. Like if I was I don't know, if I'm terrible at in-person like store clerk things, so gas station, working at a clothing store, grocery store, I'm terrible at that. This one time I worked at a gas station. I think I was there for 3 months or 2 months, and it's supposed to be two people. I was sitting and I was like, yeah, this is great. And then I have zero interest in cars, so I had to learn about like cars and petrol, and I had zero interest. And I like soft ice, so I would just take a little bit extra when I needed it to eat and everything. And then someone came in the store and and they told the boss, because they're friends, like, this guy always sits when I come in the petrol station. I said, yeah, because there's two of us, and there's only one who needs to be on the counter and actually do the cash work, and I don't want to stand for 8 hours. So yeah, so my boss calls me and goes, so Amit, I think it's best we don't come to work tomorrow. I go, yeah, I agree.
Oh my!
It's best that you don't come in. Oh man.
Like, wait, what about the next day though?
No, there was just, I just went on with my life, you know.
Oh
I
my
was just,
gosh!
I think it might have been the same time I got into my game studies. I think there was a game school who opened us up, and that's kind of where I pivoted very quickly. But that's how I realized I'm terrible at like, there's a lot of people who are really good at that kind of balance. But for me, if I had that work today, I might have been saying work and life balance, because I would just be doing the work to get paid to do something I actually enjoy doing. Make sense?
Yeah, like
Makes
it's
sense.
the job.
Yeah.
Like you do it.
You
to make
don't
the
you don't
money.
consider your current job a job? Maybe that's threading like dangerous territory, but like
No.
but like
So you have
it's not
you have job, work, career. There's three different things according to
yeah.
general definitions, right? We all have probably careers, right? Because
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
there's a thought process and there's a meaning behind it. Hey Patrick, hey Florian, thanks for watching. So for me, I'm generally, everything I do, I have some interest in it. There's nothing I've done for the last 25 years. I'm 37. For those who don't know that, so I know I look pretty young, but yeah. So, so
Oh my god!
hey, we gotta have some fun when we stream.
I love it. No, I love it. You're totally right. You look like a child. Keep going.
Yeah, I shaved as well. Don't you notice?
I
there was
moved my eyebrow up here. Yeah.
I met someone at work today, 17-year-old kid of one of my bosses. He had more facial hair than me, and I was like, dude, what the hell? So that's crazy. Anyway, back to topic. We're talking about, I have not been drinking today, just for the record. Just been a very good day. So working life balance. Where was I? I forgot. You take over.
It's gone.
I don't even know where you started.
I mean,
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, when we were talking about work and life balance, and I said that it's, for me, it's more about forgiveness to yourself, or like giving yourself the okay to not work or not do something.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Because like when students go out of school and then they get their job, there's this you have to like shed the need to want to work on your portfolio.
I encourage them. Is that weird?
I
But it's
mean,
because like if you have interns, right, and they're like if you're a hired junior, then I would be like, okay, fine, don't think about work. Like you're learning enough at work, so you don't have to work in your portfolio. Kind of
yeah.
thing.
So I'm not talking about. I'm saying like they're hired. They have the full-time position.
Yeah.
It's like take that relaxation moment and like reprogram yourself to not think like I'm a student anymore, because they start to like, at least from what I've noticed, they start to panic about like, oh, my portfolio is not moving.
Yeah.
And it won't move. Like if you're on a project that's multiple years long, your portfolio will not move for years sometimes, unless you put something on there yourself. So you have to first be okay with that. And then when you get the itch, then you can, you can make your art and you can have your cake and eat it too, if you want to say it like that. But
but it's stressful for students though, or like for juniors and stuff, because you could work on a project for 3 years and you've only really produced blockouts and stuff, right? So it happens, right? You end up in a prop team or something, and then you're like, okay, cool, you have an outsourcing pipeline, and then you're making blockouts and briefs, and then you burn out.
And then that's, well, and that might be around the time that the itch starts. Like you're not getting the satisfaction.
Yeah, the creative itch. Yeah, exactly.
The creative itch kicks in, and then you do the stuff at home, and then it turns into the career / like personal time. And personal time for me, personal time actually does not involve the Empire. And personal time is actually very small for me.
Yeah.
I think it's like a total, if you include the sleeping time, it's a total of 36 to 48 hours.
So bathroom time.
Well,
it's like sleeping and bathroom time.
Yeah. What's up?
So for you, when you think about your Empire, it's professional. You consider it work then?
I would say that at this point in time, it is now work for me. Yeah, or maybe career, because I enjoy teaching people or showing people things. So there's a lot of satisfaction that comes into it, which really plays into like how do I balance that, because I'll start eating away at my personal time, which is why it's 36 hours at times, right? Because I eat into the personal time and do that instead.
Right. So did you have a lot of personal time before? Because if you didn't have personal time before, then there's no problem, right? Because I didn't have a lot of personal time before.
So the Empire is the direct result of the Swedish work-life balance. It is you drop an American into a pool of people that actually go home at 5:30 to 6.
Right.
Energizer bunny.
You've got all this time, and I'm like, what do I do with all of this time? And I started doing a bunch of things, and then it just kind of turned into like, okay, I've got the itch to make art. Well, now I have all this free time. I might as well like, let's stream it. Let's answer questions. I've streamed before. Like, I'll just go that route. And then it just turned into this monster of a thing.
Yeah. So when someone, and I guess in this YouTube, but also everyone who's watching, there's quite a few of you, don't forget to like and subscribe and leave some comments and questions, right? So for everyone watching as well, and us as well, is it work if you're updating your portfolio or trying to keep up with work? Now, what is it a mental attitude? Is it the mental state that defines its work or play? I'm going to use the word play because I used to be the game designer as well. So play is the word I'm going to use. Play. Is it play or work?
I'm going to use this moment as well because I'm balancing my life perfectly right now. Yeah, I have food in the oven and I need to make sure I don't burn my apartment down. So I'll be right back.
Live example.
Avoiding the question.
He's like, screw this, I'm on over here.
Well, like, okay, I can take a stab at it. Is it work or is it play? I mean, my attitude towards working in the evenings and weekends or whatever, I treat it as work. Like even during weekends, like this weekend, Easter weekend, every day from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever. I don't know how many days. I woke up at 7. I did the full work day. I had lunch when I'm supposed to have lunch. I have dinner when when I'm supposed to have dinner, and then I worked some more after that from, to like 10 in the evening, 11 maybe. So I do like around the clock, and I treat my vacations like that as well. Around the clock, like me time, working on what I want to do, my own boss. So that's kind of what I prefer doing. And obviously, like that only really works because I have a very understanding wife. It's very like keen on like this is what he feels like he needs to do and wants to do, right? So she's wonderful like that, and not everybody has that support.
Well, it's better that than you being outside drinking and doing drugs and alcohol. I'm guessing. So you know.
What did I walk into?
Yeah, my drug abuse.
Yeah.
You didn't know about that?
Didn't
he was
know
hiding
this?
so well.
Like,
Oh, I suppose a lot, man.
You know.
You should have been here. But yeah.
no, I treat it as work, but it's all play for me because I'm at the point in my career, I think, where I feel like I don't have to prove myself to anyone, and I feel like that's a wonderful position to be in. A few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, I felt like this crazy need to be like, I need to become top 100 artist in the world, you know, like I really felt like I needed to prove myself. And then I just started to learn more about me and who I am, what I like. So like, no, I don't really care about being the best artist. Art is just meh, you know, but making interactive experiences like video games, that's super fun, right? So I just started doing other stuff. And then the need to, because it's an artist thing as well, right? Like that need to that constant drive to prove yourself, to make better art than someone else that you know or whatever. It can be quite toxic.
So how long did that take you to be confident to reach that point? There's a question in the chat for that as well.
Probably 10 years.
Okay, so for context, how old are you?
Oh, how old am I? 30? 34? 35?
34. And Jeremiah,
35?
how old are you, Jeremiah?
I'm 37. I'll be 38 this year.
Wait, am I older? I can't.
I don't really.
How old
pay attention to it.
am I?
What's your birth year?
1987. How old am I then?
35.
35. I'm
35,
35
yeah.
this year, maybe.
Maybe, I forgot.
That's hilarious. You'll probably be 36 this year, Chris.
Age is just a number, bro.
It's true. It's true. People, you know, we got on that topic on the last call about like what
That
age
was
you
the
are and
toughest question for sure.
getting into the industry and like how old, you know, how old is too old.
Yeah. No, there's nothing like you can't be too old. Like
Yeah,
I
that's true.
I know people that's been like 35 going in and then they're kicking ass in the industry. So it's
Dude, 45 was someone I saw.
45?
At
Dang,
junior.
that's awesome. Yeah.
And into Bungie, like straight in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know of, I think 1 or 2 lighting artists as well. They come from they have an advantage because they come from the movie industry, but they also got to work like as a lighting artist around 48, I think. So a lot of people are worried about age, but I don't think age matters. If you're pivoting career, you're pivoting career. I mean, that's gonna happen. Well, depending.
Yeah, and you got to start at the bottom either way, right? Like it's just something you have to deal with.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I see it as play because it's my time. I do whatever I want. I don't really. I've talked about it on this podcast before. Like I don't really take feedback. I don't really care about anybody, what they think about anything. I care about what I think about my work and what I do.
Look, you want to do.
But you two, I don't give a.
Yeah.
You know, you can take your feedback.
We are going to make a specific stream next time in the future called "Why Doesn't Chris Radsby Take Any Feedback?" Just for you, so we can really.
It stresses me out.
down.
Like it feels like I have to perform to other people's standards, and I don't like it. I want to perform to my standard. It makes me feel good.
So would you say your standard is higher then?
Ooh.
I mean,
I don't know. I have to ask my manager if I'm allowed to say something about that. No, I mean, I think my taste is pretty good. Like, but I mean, there are a lot of artists that are way better than me. You know.
So I think it's getting comfortable with that. Right?
Let's move focus over to you guys. What do you guys think? Well, Jeremy, you left before.
Yeah, I did. I put everything is out of the oven now. It smells amazing, and now it's just taunting me. I can smell it in the other room, and it's just there. getting cool.
He's gone. He's just gonna focus anymore. He's just gonna smell and go,
Yeah,
"Oh."
just, you see me
But
doing
you
that.
but you approach your like the empire and the stuff you do in your spare time as work, right?
Uh, it's weird. I probably should look at it like that. I do look at it as more of like, now I look at it as I have this big thing that I really like doing, and it's not like how do I monetize it and pull money from people. It's not that mindset, but it's how do I make it so that it also benefits me, in like the broader scheme of helping me balance my life more, right? So like if I can make the empire something more that helps even more people, and it helps me from like either like a financial or like a learning standpoint. Like I learned how to be a lead through the empire before I became a lead.
Yeah.
And so as long as it continues to benefit myself and I see the people that I'm talking to like every day benefiting from it, I get a fulfillment from it. And so it doesn't really feel, some days it can feel like work, but other days it feels like career growth, or like being able to understand how to talk to people and feedback. Like, and now, I mean, Wesley in chat was talking about like, you're at work and you're bleeding time into like spreadsheets now versus like becoming a lead. To me was like the best thing that could happen to me and arguably the empire, because now I'm not scratching the itch of being an artist directly, and I'm more doing feedback and critiques, which is what I did in the empire. So the empire prepped me for that. And then when I get home, it's more about making sure that I have the work-life balance to have the energy to stream, because I already have the want and the need in my mind and as an artist. And it's just more about like making sure I don't burn the candle at both ends so that I have that energy.
Yeah, makes sense.
And
I
the
definitely
forgiveness
feel like
part is me like saying no stream sometimes. Like if I get home and I'm like dead, it is much better to just not and just chat with people on the Discord, or just not do anything and just sit on the couch, and that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking when you said that, I was thinking like it kind of goes hand in hand with like what Amit said before, like or said to us before, like doing stuff with others, right? Helps. Like it's now like I'm announcing my streams in your Discord, right? And it's kind of keeping the community. Like I feel like it's a good thing for the community. Like, oh, there's something art-wise going on all the time, like art or code, GameDev, whatever, you know.
When you bring stuff that's not art to the, you know, you talk more about gameplay and level design.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Like, yeah.
That can be so misunderstood. Like, you don't know,
Chris, it's gonna be okay, man. I mean, says the guy that's put tech art director in front of level environment lead guy. No, but
I
like
do both. What can I do?
You're much broader as a game developer than I am, and I just love art, and like, and you're all about the encompassing experience. I like that aspect of myself wanting to be like that, and you have that. Having those two happening in the server, super nice. And Amit, like you approaching me about like you do lighting and you have a lighting server, that's now a place I can point people that are questioning their lighting or have questions about lighting. I can point them to either your server, or I can ping you in my server, and then, you know, it gets the cycle going.
Yeah.
And it gives everyone answers.
I would say, speaking for myself anyway, it makes it less work. Right? Because you're involving other people, and it becomes more fun, right? Because when I started Lightingbot, I originally did this stream on my other YouTube channel, and it started growing quickly. And then I thought, wait, if I put my name and my brand on it, then I am solely responsible for it, and I don't want to be solely responsible for building a community. So I thought, okay, let's make up a name. So let's make up a name that other people could join and represent. If I chose not to do it anymore, someone else could take it over, and it will keep living on, right? That was kind of the idea. And then when I did that, people were like, "Oh, you started a Discord channel." I said, "Okay, sure, I guess I'll start a Discord channel." And then when then it became less fun because now you have a community. You have to learn about community, something that Jeremy is very good at because he has obviously a long experience with Dynasty as well. And then I started making courses that was paid, and then it became business, and then it was like, oh fuck, now you gotta keep up with all of this stuff, and then you're like, screw this, and then you're like, okay, how do you go back and just make it fun for yourself? And then that's when I
Yes.
approached Jeremy, and then that's when he included you as well, Chris, into this equation. I thought, okay, how do I just make it fun? And then if it does help financially, great, but it's not really why I'm doing it, right? It's to help people. But
Yeah.
then when you get tired, which is probably where Jeremy is at, because he has a larger community, he's been doing it for a while, it makes more sense for him to worry about some kind of financial gain because he has time to worry about, energy to worry about. We're not getting any younger as well. So, so for me, it was like, okay, screw this stuff. I'll make the stuff because I'm making it because already people have paid for it. But then beyond that, it's more about just doing something that I think is within my ability to do it, and then have people help out. Like I have a lot of guest mentors that come and join and do the mentorship and the courses as well. And yeah, it's just it's supposed to be something together, and I'm trying to figure that out as well, so it doesn't become work, and work. It's supposed to be work and life, and having the laugh and the fun, basically, and being able to be stupid, and a human, I would say, is kind
Yeah,
of
definitely.
because I have a weakness. If it's too work, I become too serious, and I don't show my playful personality a lot. So for me, it's a good balance of, and that's why this stream comes in, and other streams is more about having a conversation, and then whatever happens, really. If this green scene falls behind me and it wrecks, it's fine. It's okay. I don't really care. So, you know,
I tend
mean,
to always like for
yeah.
myself. I tend to always when things get too much and I get like overwhelmed or like bored, not yeah bored, like or tired. I'm not tired of something. Like sometimes on my stream, I feel like this project, I want to do this on the stream, but I'm like not really sure where to go. And then I'm like, then I make another
Splinter.
project.
Yeah.
So then I'm like running two projects, one that I do on stream and then one I do for me that is fun. That is kind of what's happening. And then I like switch around. So I'm like always like I have several projects up and running usually at the same time.
But so you do live streams and you're actually doing something, so that stresses me out. So for me, I'm like, you're watching.
Oh, because we're sitting here talking, but you could actually be streaming and working now.
Yeah, no,
Is that what you mean?
because when you're doing your current stream, you're showing your workflow and you're showing everything, and you're making the mistakes and everything. And Jeremy does the same thing. I would be more nervous doing that. I would much rather record the video and then release it afterwards to also make sure it's as short as possible and just explains what I want to explain. Because for me, I'm like, I don't want you to see that I'm stumbling and everything. What the hell? No, I don't.
No, but that's about the confidence, right? Like as well. It's like I think it's super healthy for the community to know how much we are stumbling in general, even though we're very experienced, very veteran artists and stuff. Like, but we're like we even the most basic things like in Blender, like in my mind, I'm like, if I'm just thinking Blender right now, like I don't know how to loft something, for example. So I'm like, I will figure that out on stream and people will see me struggle, Or I'm like looking at the documentation, I'm like pulling documentation and everybody on stream like, okay, now we're reading documentation together, I think it's just a very healthy thing for the community to have that because it's very easy to just look at the results and then just feel that pressure, that kind of that you have to be perfect. It's kind of like that weird Instagram reality thing, but for artists, you have to show the realness of the thing.
So a question from Polygon: do you think it's unhealthy to see art as fun, as in you blur the line between work and life too much?
I mean, you add the detail on the end there, but the first part of it, I don't think that's unhealthy. But blurring the line between work and life, you need moderation. Like the brain can't really do something for longer than 2 hours before you're just losing it. Like you just lose focus. Like you'll notice it on the end of our streams sometimes that because our streams are about an hour. I start to waver a bit.
I'm already wavering, man. Just wait. I'm going.
Yeah. But like, I mean, I guess an example. So I was super. I had like a bad cold, like ultra sore throat all last week, and just couldn't do anything. And so I was just sitting around, and then it was Easter. So then we're gonna go to our friend's cabin, and I'm like, okay, I'm just kind of sitting around, and now I'm sitting in the sun, not feeling great, but I'm getting better. And then in my head, I was like, oh man, I just remembered that there's a reality capture app that I kind of wanted to try. So now I'm just walking around this house, screenshotting everything and trying like photogrammetry for the first time. And it blew my mind. And I had a whole lot of fun doing it. And
But is that bad?
No, that was fun. I mean, I wasn't resting, but arguably speaking, I was just walking around with a cell phone, taking photos of things.
But you're having fun, right? I guess
and I was having fun doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
and I hadn't really done much that whole week. I
So-
didn't go to work the whole week. I felt like crap.
So if you're having fun at work, are you saying it's no longer work?
I mean, it's
Does-
still work. You're getting paid for it, right?
Yeah,
But-
that's my argument. Because if you're having fun, does that mean I don't have to pay you?
Wait, you
So
guys
that-
have fun?
So there's having fun at work, and then there's having fun at work that makes you stay longer than 8 hours. That's where I think it's a problem. If you go beyond your 8-hour mark, you got to.
You can't have fun for more than 8 hours.
You
It's like a
got to learn to shut it off.
hard cut.
I mean,
No
I
more
saw
fun.
Chris leave at like 5:30. Someone's like, "Hey, Chris," he's like, "No, it's time."
Yeah, I mean, after the division, I was like, not doing crunch anymore.
Yeah,
And
Yeah,
that's been
that's
going
completely gone
for
now.
6 or 7 years or something. So yeah.
Yeah, I
I
don't
crunch my own stuff.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, I mean, doing your own stuff. So, what is work then, and what is life for that matter? What does that mean? Does that mean having
I
a
guess
hobby?
work's transactional, right?
Depends if you're married, I think.
So, if you have married, you don't have a life.
If work is defined by having your boss telling you what to do, and then if you're married, then life is defined by your spouse, telling you what to do. No, I don't. No, she can't hear me. I don't know. Yeah, I'm just kidding. No, I don't know. I really, yeah.
So, because someone said earlier that if people who are married or have a family have a different way of mindset and consideration when it comes to these kind of work and life balance, because there's less. The person didn't necessarily say it, but arguably there's less responsibility that puts you in a situation where you have to think about other people than yourself, which I don't necessarily think is true, but I would say it's more true if you do have a husband or wife.
I think you're in a safer spot, right? Like you're in a safer zone if you have a husband or wife telling you to like stop. Because if you're living like a single life or whatever, you don't really have anyone that would like check you and make you stop, right? You're taking it too far, right? There are many times where I'm like, I'm working too hard. Like I'm sitting down in the sofa maybe after I've been working like 12 hours a day or something. And then I'm still on my phone researching more work stuff, and then I'm going to bed and then I'm like on the phone. I'm like looking at like cool Unreal Engine stuff, That's awesome, and I'm like, and then it never stops, right? So I think it's a great privilege to have someone that close that cares about you that can tell you to stop, even if that causes friction sometimes, because it's fun to work or whatever, but you need to stop at some point.
Yeah,
right?
someone's there to help you balance as well.
Yeah,
or
because
like-
you can. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
but
like,
there's sorry,
yeah,
go
go
on. No, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say that like there's like Saturday, I wake up Saturday morning. I mean, I wake up every morning super early because I want that.
That's good that you wake up every morning, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wake
You
up
have to
every morning
you
super
have to
early,
define what is super early to you.
like 5:30.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah,
5:30
that is
or
early.
6.
Yeah.
So if I can get up that early, which is not every morning, and that's okay, but I try to get up at like 5:36. It's usually like 5:45, and then I get like a good hour or hour and a half to do whatever I want. So that's like a little window of free time, right?
Yeah.
But on Saturdays, the reason I was bringing up Saturdays is you've got like I have my like my partner and I live together, and then we also have a dog, Maru, and those are both of them, and them to me, we all have obligations to each other and things that we all need to do in order to maintain our own sanity and like everything else around us. And so usually what happens is we have a discussion, usually Saturday morning, of like, what's the plan? Like, what's your guys' plans today? And we ask the dog, and he just looks at us like, are you going to feed me yet? And then I tell her what I'm going to do or what I would like to do. And she'll ask me usually like, how long do I think that's going to take? So she's basically producing my brain. She goes, is that like 2 hours, 3 hours? I say 3 hours. Like, okay, do you want to do that in the morning or do you want to do it later in the evening? And once I've made that choice, then it becomes super clear. Okay, the whole day is free and we're doing whatever we need to do together and whatever we want to do together. We can watch shows, we can cook, we can go for a long walk with the dog. And then that 3 hour window, that's mine. And I do that. And
that's such a healthy grown-up way to handle things.
Yeah, it'll help if I ever have kids. because they're gonna come shooting in from every angle and I have no control over any of that.
I'm selfish in that sense. Like for me, like my own personal me time, right? It's like I want 14 hours on Saturday for what I want to do. That leaves probably a few hours, because I like really focusing on something for like the whole day. Like I really like to just get into it and like lock myself in, and that is, you need someone like in your life. If you have someone like I do in your life that can accept that. It's not always easy. Like I'm very selfish as a person like that, but that's what I need, right? Or want, right? So if yours is 3 hours, then like if you told me 3 hours, I'd be like, but I can't do anything in 3 hours, man. Like
it depends. Like, I mean, we also have a Todoist app that we share, so she can see all the stuff that I've got queued up. When anyone signs up for a mentorship time window, it shows up in there. She gets it in her calendar. So we're like,
it's not stressful for her to see that.
No, it's just like it's super visible, and like if
maybe
she wants,
should be a producer.
That's the plan.
Yeah,
she will eventually become a producer because she's very good at that stuff.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah,
but we just organize our time around each other. Like 3 hours is an example, because for me, maybe I need to like after 3 hours, I just need to stop and not do anything for the rest of the day. But then there's other days where it's like, well, I have this that I want to do, and I have this that I want to do, and I've put it all in my to-do app. So if you've been listening to how I'm talking, I'm tracking everything. So I've got everything kind of written down, and I've got tags that kind of give me like, I do rough estimation. I'm like, oh, that'll probably take me like an hour. That'll probably be like 3 hours. And I can then put those in order on what days I want to try and do stuff. And then we can discuss that, or I can just say like, oh, I'm going to try and focus the whole day. I want to get these things done. And then we we negotiate around that stuff.
Would you say that your organizational skills is why you're successful as a for your career, for your the empire and everything? Yeah.
I went really extreme, and then I dialed it back like 30 or 40%. And now I'm in this like sweet spot where it's like, instead of trying to remember everything, like that's not what your brain's for. Your brain is for like doing stuff. And remembering stuff, you just write it down and you can get back to it whenever you want.
Yeah, that's true.
And if you put a priority on it, like that specific thing, that helped me immensely when it came to managing my time. Because managing your time, I think, is the best way to figure out how to balance it.
He has a
so if I'm waking up at 5:45 or 5:30 or 6, that window, to get a good night's sleep, I'm gonna need to lay down at like 10:30 or 11.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
It's good though.
And when do I actually lay down? 10:30 to 11:30. It's like, depending on if there's a really good anime on, we're screwed unless Maddie stops us. If my partner does not
being
stop
the grown up,
we'll be there.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah. No, I was just wondering, because if you wake up so early, like I wake up at 7 usually. right? And then depending on the day or the dog or whatever, it can be earlier, right? But I always I go to bed at 12, sometimes 1, so I'm usually running on 6 hours.
Fumes.
Yeah,
6 hours
but
can work.
it's powered by coffee and Monster, so it's cool. It's gonna be fine.
6 hours can work. What
Yeah,
works?
6
is a
hours work.
consistent sleep time.
Yeah.
Always go to bed at
And
the same time. Always wake up.
And I fall asleep in a minute. I lay down, head turns off, or brain. The brain turns, turns off, and then I fall asleep immediately, almost, always.
So do you think that's a good balance for you? Do you think that's good for you? Do you think it's good for you in the long term, but you won't really realize it until it's in your face and you're like, oh shit.
I mean, I'm thinking it's good until I break down. The first time. I've never really had a break. I'm the type of wood, that you kind of we need to see where's the breaking point, right? I can keep going, and then I'll be like, all right, okay, kind of have to, but we're gonna keep going. It's not like I'm, okay, I am going pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie, but it's fine, until until it breaks,
Yeah, you
then I can slow down. I think, because then I know, I don't know, what am I? I don't know. I want so much, and life and hours and time doesn't. So I have to.
You also go in waves where you quit doing art almost entirely, and you just game really hard.
I game hard, yeah.
And then you're just gaming and gaming, and there's tons of games you're finishing left and right, and then you're back on art.
It depends on the release windows, right? So usually you have a couple of windows during the year where there are more games released, like November, September is just crazy usually, right? For example, and then I just go it's just full on games for a couple of months or whatever. Sometimes I do both. If I play games with other people and I'm waiting for them in Discord, then I'll be working, and then as soon as they come online, I'll be pop the game up, right? And then if there's a lull, right, in between matches or whatever, I'm work, and then game, yeah. So I switch windows and stuff. Yeah.
So, well, let's talk about hobbies, because we talk about work and life, but in life there is the responsibility of spouses, dogs, cats, kids, whatever, right? But what is not considered any relationship to your work? What do people do that doesn't directly benefit your actual work or career?
You should definitely have something. You need a way to disconnect.
Anything. No, I don't have anything.
Yours is gaming, Chris. In my
everything,
opinion, gaming.
No, gaming is research as well.
For sure.
Everything I do is aimed towards a goal, right? Because otherwise you're just wasting your time. I'm sorry. This is supposed to be about relaxing and. No, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have anything.
Chris, it was D&D.
A D&D before, I think hanging out with my wife and the dog and taking walk. I'm very grateful when she forces me sometimes to leave my computer. I'll be right, and then we go out in the forest and I'm ooh, trees, it's nice. And
so you're goal oriented. So indirectly, from what I've understood of you so far, is work and your family basically, and you're working on specific goals 5 years, 10 years from now, and that's kind of what you're trying to do, and everything you kind of do is aimed towards that, and everything else in your eye is a waste of time because it doesn't serve your purpose that you have decided. Is that correct?
Yeah, but it's also why it's selfish. I mean, obviously she knows about all my goals and what I want, and right, I want a successful career. I want to do stuff, make something, become I want to be very successful essentially, and I want to work hard. And that is it is definitely a several years in the future type of plan, right? And you have to put in the hours before that to get there, right?
So what is your definition of successful though?
Oh man, we're getting deep in here now.
Good. For me? I mean, this is not true for other people, but I've always wanted to be I've always wanted to start my own gaming company, start my own company, for example, even if I'm solo or if I do it with friends, That's been a goal of mine for like since forever, right? It's never really been, so, or I want to, like, one of my goals is to like solo release a game, for example. And that's definitely like a 2-3 year plan. If I'm going to do a game in the weekends, like one of my projects, Kira, right? Like I've worked on that since last summer, I think. And that's 2 hours every week, right? So I haven't really made a lot of progress. So it's taken 6 months. So like if I project that into the future, if I only work 2 hours, it's going to take me years to finish that game.
Right.
So it's like everything I do right now is like years ahead. I have to think like, but that's also like I'm stacking knowledge in like my bookshelf here, like animation, UI, programming, game design. Like it's all stuff that I'm going through, like.
Yeah, you're absorbing it all.
Again, I want to say like living or doing stuff like I do is not necessarily a good thing. It's just because it feels more okay for me because I have these long-term goals. Like
and you're enjoying
it's not a question. It's not a question of, like if I'm gonna do it. It's more like that is what I have to do, so I'm just gonna do it, and I'm gonna approach it like a professional with discipline.
He's like, I am a samurai.
I am a samurai. Just a chair samurai that's a bit fat.
Well, there is I don't know what I was actually listening to it today, but they have the code. What's the name of the samurai code?
Oh, I have no idea.
Oh man, I don't know.
So they have a code, and what I wanted to point out is they became powerful, successful warriors because they had this system. Yeah, they had this system that they followed, and they had a purpose that they followed by the book. No matter what happened, they had this orientation of, okay, this is what we're doing, this is how we follow things, and that's why they were so successful in what they did, basically. And that's kind of what Chris is doing unconsciously or consciously, depending on his knowledge when it comes to mindset. Is he's doing that. He follows his own Bushido code of, this is where I'm going, this is my frame rate, this is my framework, this is the direction, this is what I want to achieve.
Yeah.
And that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. But what about you, Jeremy?
What about me?
Do you have any thing that you define as successful and that you haven't achieved that you're trying to aim for in terms of, and still balancing work and life?
I guess when there's stuff that I want to achieve, like the Empire was never a goal, and that manifested out of nowhere, and I freaking love it. Like it's the place that I wanted it to be when it appeared.
But it comes naturally to you. Like, you remember when you played Elite Dangerous and you were like running
I made a
side community for that, and then you have like Excel sheets with everybody's. It was
crazy. I just like managing.
If people are born with different attributes or perks or whatever, like yours is like community management.
Like I added to there.
Leadership, or organizational skills. Yeah.
I like organizing stuff. I mean, that's why
you're really good at that.
Command is really something I enjoy a lot, because it's just gathering knowledge and learning. And so for me, successful is continued growth, I guess. Continued understanding and learning. Like the industry, you never stop. Stuff is always changing. Like I can't imagine what it was like when, like I showed up right as normal maps came into the industry, but I can't imagine what it was like to have it be a normal workplace without normal maps. And then this thing shows up that changes everything.
Oh, you were pre-normal maps, right?
Yeah, I was there maybe for like 8 months before normal maps really kicked in.
Yeah.
And then I was trying to tell everyone on the team around me, like, yo, you got to use, like, we're using baked lights. Like, there's no, like, put the normal maps on there, bake the lighting, remove the normal maps. You will see. They never believed me. Maybe that's why that game isn't around anymore. I don't know. But I was just
Saw game.
No, it was before Saw. So Saw was in
Elliot.
Man, when
long time, pal.
That was Unreal 3.
Unreal 3, yeah.
Yeah. It was before UDK and all that stuff. But
Before Unreal 3, there was Unreal 2004 or 2007.
7. I remember buying some robot game that came out for the Unreal Engine, and it came with the engine inside of it.
All right.
And I bought it on Steam just to get a hold of Unreal.
Oh yeah,
I
that
remember
robot
that.
game.
Editor
Yeah.
was there, and your character was like this bouncing robot with like a rolly ball base, and that's how I got
Yeah.
into Unreal. But I was using
Interesting.
Unreal 2.5 when it was like there was it was rough, man, but it was cool. Yeah, constantly learning. This is the reason I'm streaming. I'm like, how does nanite work? I'm asking all these questions and digging into stuff, and you're gonna watch me not know what the hell's going on constantly, and then epiphany moments, or someone comes on the stream and tells me something, or someone says something in chat, and then the stars align, and I all of a sudden it's like I see everything that I wanted to solved right there, and then I just try and connect it.
But Amit, what do you feel?
It's addicting, man.
What is success to you, or?
Oh yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
5, but third at age 27, released 3 different games. And the reason I didn't, with the team I was with and the people that I joined up with, was just people gave up too quickly. They didn't understand the stuff that, but you to understand the mindset you have. If I had people like that in the beginning, I would have had a game company by now for sure, because you need a certain mindset and attitude to do that kind of a work-life balance, because you if you have a purpose, there is no work-life balance. There is just your purpose. You have a purpose, you have a end goal, which you might never reach, and you might even know you might never reach, but you're still gonna do it. You're still aiming for it, right? So I learn over time that I want to be in a position where I can help other people who I can see or even admit that I don't think they necessarily are the best people out there, but I want to make sure they become the best people. So I don't necessarily go and help people that I already think are great, or I think they will be fine. If I think you're going to be fine, if you ask me for help, I'll help you, but I'll rather find people that are hidden on our station, or they're too timid to be visible online, or just something like, and just say, hey, you can come over and I'll help you, and here's how I'm gonna help you. That's what I put the time and effort, and that's what Lighting Bot has become for me. Is it's a haven for me to find potential and then figure out what can I do with my resources, time, and skill, with your help as well, to kind of elevate other people, because that is a responsibility I think certain people is willing to take, and I think we kind of want to take it. We have the capacity of taking the responsibility. So whatever I'm doing, it's primarily for power, influence, and resources, but it's not for me. It's for being able to say, I can take that phone call, or I can send that email, and I can get you a lot of other things, because I'm just want the respect and the ability to help someone else. And because I failed like a lot of times. Like most of the stuff I've done is like fail. Even though I finished the stuff I started. Like my first game was idyllic. It was an iPhone game. Should have been done in 3 months. Took me 5 years to do it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. People were like stopping me. Right? Yeah, like people didn't want me to finish it, so I had to struggle with people who took away my money, stopped me from traveling to countries, do stuff. So there's a lot of politics involved, and I still finished. So up there's, and then I found the right mentors and these things, and I've learned the value of the right mentors who understand mindset and other things other than the actual skills. And as Jeremy, you said as well, one of the reasons you're doing well is not just because you're a great artist, it's because you understand organizational skills and how you manage your own time in life, which is some of the key elements of being successful. It's not just being good in your 3D software. So that's kind of what I'm focused on, is passing on that understanding, coaching people in that, and just hoping they understand that that's how you can have an advantage. And I think perseverance is the key, not necessarily talent or skill. You just need the consistency to do something every day, even for 20 minutes. There's a 100-hour rule. If you spend 100 hours in a year, you can catch up and be quite good at it. That's about 18 minutes a day. So if you spend 18 minutes doing one thing every day, be it martial art training, you're more than likely to be on the top 20% in the world in that given area of focus. So that's kind of what I'm doing with these things.
Chris
Makes
is the
sense.
top 1%, I think.
Do you like consider yours work? Like, do you approach that stuff the same I do? Like in terms of like
Yeah, probably. I
long
mean,
term goals.
yeah, everything I have is connected somewhere. Even when I learn painting, it's not really for me. It's so I can explain something I don't understand to other
Yeah.
people.
Okay.
I ask questions to you or Jeremy. It's not really for me. It's so I can understand it on behalf of someone else and then simplify it for someone else. I don't necessarily care about all the stuff I'm learning. It's because I want to make sure someone else. So if I took 10 years to do something, I want someone else to do it in 5 years. If I spend 5 years doing something, I want to make sure someone else does it in 3 years, 2 years. So that's why I'm putting my time and energy into it, because I know I'm capable of doing it. Right. And I'm willing to sacrifice my time and energy to do that. Right. And that's not for everyone, because people have other things. They want to play games, they want to go out. I don't consider it a waste of time necessarily, but with the same mindset as Chris, it's just fun. Like I can have fun 10 years from now if I'm getting exhausted or tired and decide, okay, still didn't work out, I'm gonna just go do something else. I don't know. It's no reason to stop now. You stop when you get older, when you really need to. Right now we don't really need to.
Do you feel like you want legacy in terms of like you want to leave something behind, right? Like community or like.
So I know I already built a game organization south of Norway that I left behind, which still lives today, right? And I spent 8 years building it. I failed twice doing it, and it wasn't until I decided to become a full-time lighting artist, which is only 3-4 years ago, since I decided to just do it full-time, non-stop, just lighting, nothing else. And then I picked a team that I've been training quietly over a couple of years and say, hey, now you guys can take over, and it's their own thing, it's running on its own. That's when I knew, okay, if I can do it for free, there's no money involved, I got them to do it for no personal gain, nothing. I can do it with other resources and other people. So that's why I think what you all are doing and what we are all doing together is important, because people need hope. People need motivation. People need examples, and I think we are a good base example to go by, because we have failed a lot, we have struggled a lot, we have real experience to kind of talk about openly and avoid people, tell people, hey, this is what happened to Jeremy, but that worked for me. So there's a perspective there, right? There's no right and wrong answer, but it's just perspectives. But legacy, yeah, why not? I don't mind. So yeah, that's my
that's
failures or. Oh, go ahead, Chris. Yeah, I think you were gonna.
No, I was just gonna say, yeah, like you, Jeremy, you have legacy as well. Like you're leaving behind the empire, right? If you're like gone tomorrow, you've built something from the ground.
I was like, what would happen?
Yeah, you've built something. You're leaving. Like personally, I don't really have anything, right? I want to get there. I don't really want to run a community. I would love to leave games behind, that are more of, my stuff, in some shape or form, or me or my friends or whatever, but yeah, I mean, it's long-term goals. Who knows? I mean, it can take me 5, it can take me 10 years. I don't really know, like it can take me even more. Maybe it'll never even happen, but I just know like it's never going to happen if I stop working or if I don't spend time learning, working.
I think
hard, right?
I think most people are closer than they think. They just stop too early.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like it could be right around the corner, kind of thing.
We'll take 2 questions, and then we are kind of, unless you guys want to continue, we're already on our 1 hour mark, actually. So we're going to take the 2 questions. Vokar is asking, in my free time, I keep thinking about my job and side projects. Because of that, I have a feeling I'm wasting my time whenever I'm doing something else. How do you deal with it? Well, the simple answer is you stop doing it, but I'll let the other 2 also give their point of view.
Is it a simple answer?
It is.
No, I mean, it is a simple answer, but again, I think one of the reason, Chris being a good example as well, you being a good example, when you have a reason to wake up, and when you have responsibility and you have a long-term goal that you have the persistence and the endurance to do, you will not play games, you will not do other stuff, because there is such a strong reason behind it. Most people wake up, they don't have a reason, and if the money is reason, that's not a good reason, that's a terrible reason. And if someone else is just a reason, that's also not a good reason. You need a reason that goes beyond the normal superficial thing. Buying a house is not a reason. Buying a car is not a reason. That's a goal. That's not even part of the bigger picture. So I think that's important. You need a reason, and as you say, it's not an easy answer. There's mentality, there's discipline, which is obviously very important here as well. Self-control, control the impulses, which is what this is.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
go ahead,
I'm just trying to unpack the question. So it's like in my free time, I keep thinking about my job and side projects. So the job is game development, I'm assuming. Either way, it's a job, right? And then also side projects. Because of that, I have a feeling I'm wasting my time. So there's the job, and then there's the side projects at home. And if you play games, then you're not putting time towards the side projects, and then the job always shows up, and you have to go to the job as well. For me, I have to think like when I put. So I'm a lead now. I've been a lead for like 3 years, almost 3 years, and I think when I want to be really good at my job, and I want to be helpful. Like it's a big group effort, right? And being a lead now people rely on you as well. So I can do as much as I can do while I'm at work, but the best thing I can do for myself is to not work when I get off of work. That way I have the energy to come back in.
Basically what he's saying, he's a 3D artist and he doesn't feel productive if he's not working. So basically it's the concept of feeling guilty, right? You feel guilty.
Yeah, that's the guilt thing I always want. Like you have to be okay or forgive yourself for it.
Yeah.
I'm a bit harsher, generally speaking, when it comes to this stuff. Yeah. Like I think gaming time, if you want to do it right, is planned. Like you should plan it maybe. But in general, right, in life, you have to sacrifice something to fit something else in either shape or form. Mm-hmm. Right. So like you have to plan and make time for that if that is something that you want to do, right? Feeling guilty about something is not necessarily like we're talking about like a goal or even like a long-term ambition, right? It's just because you're surrounded by people that might be doing stuff, you know, and you feel guilt about you not doing any stuff, but you have to figure out for yourself if that is what is valuable to you, right? I wouldn't be doing my things if I didn't feel like that was valuable to me personally, right?
So I think the key thing is for you to decide. You're a 3D artist. What do you want to actually do next? And is playing games an obstacle? Is it slowing you down? If the answer is yes, stop doing it. If it isn't really bothering you, also depends on your age. Like I spent probably a couple of years not being very efficient because I was building the organization and esports bar and other stuff, which doesn't necessarily benefit me professionally, I would say, but it taught me skills that are useful now. So being able to see that is very important and acknowledge that everything has a value. But does playing games has a value? Are you going to be a QA tester? Is there a reason you're playing games? Normally when people do other stuff is because they don't have a clear goal and they're procrastinating because they think, oh, there's always tomorrow. There is not really tomorrow. That's the mindset you should have. You don't know what happens a week from now. You might get more sick. Like my health got really bad after I traveled to India a couple of months ago. So I'm trying to figure out what the hell happened, because I'm not able to do the intensity that I could just a couple of months ago. And I train, I eat healthy. There's no logical reason except one thing. I entered a relationship, which is good, but that's because it's taking me time and energy to balance that relationship as well, which is the only new thing I've added into my equation. So that's a learning time. That's, you know, and you have to understand what is your priority here, basically. So there's no right answer, but obviously you want to do something, otherwise you wouldn't feel guilty. and then there's the FOMO
Yeah.
effect, like fear of missing out, parties, fear of missing out talking about the game. Yeah, just don't do it. We'll be watching.
I definitely know that. Like, personally, I regret that I didn't get into programming and stuff earlier. In my career, like I didn't realize that is more what I want to focus on. Instead of pursuing the art stuff, right? So I feel guilty about that. But everybody, like I've said before, everybody has their point, like the point where you realize or like where the point where you shine, your peak or whatever, like when you start growing as a person. There's nothing wrong with enjoying games. Like I'm also like I really dislike game developers that don't play video games, for example, because I'm arguing the fact that if you want to make great games, you have to play video games. Like, you have to know the market, you have to experience stuff, right? So like, sure, I can say like work hard, but you should play games. But if you want to balance your life and not feel guilty about stuff, then you actually have to be organized, like Jeremy, right? Where you plan stuff. This is how much I work.
You know what I do with games?
Let's Plays.
We watch them. We watch them
Yeah.
get played, because that's the easiest way for me to digest game content.
Yeah, I do that too. I work on my horror thing, right? And I watch Let's Plays of other people playing horror games. It gets me to experience some of that, because I don't have time to go through and play all the horror games, right? For example.
I have designated myself 100 hours of game time a year.
Oh, a year? Only 100? That's like one Elder Scrolls.
It took me 3 years. It took me 3 years to finish the first Mass Effect game.
Ah, damn, dude.
Three winters basically to finish.
Yeah, I'm not even that harsh. I spent 100 hours in Elden Ring.
I have to, because I tried ignoring my rule just recently, and for 2 months I was just playing with people and making new friends. Of course, again, there's new friends is great, especially friends that has nothing to do with the game industry and no whatsoever have any impact professionally is great, which is probably why I kept playing. But I haven't released the courses I should have, so it comes with a price, right? You're just having a good time, so you need to balance it. And I'm purposely testing on myself. What happens if I do this? What happens if I don't wake up 5:30? What happens if I wake up 7:30? What happens if I go to 10? Like, I'm testing everything. I read everything my mentors teaches me. I'm trying everything from anyone, and I'm like, okay, this works, this doesn't work. And my conclusion: make sure you sleep 8 hours, make sure you train at any cost, make sure you eat properly at any cost, and then schedule around these 3 things.
It's true. Those are necessity.
Everything else, because if you don't have your health, you're screwed. I mean, you can lose your pet, anyone close to you, you lose your health, you're screwed nonetheless. So you want to focus on your health. You want to make sure that you're okay, you're feeling good every day, you're waking up, you're energized. So all this, someone wrote earlier in the chat, students are very bad. They have all-nighters. I remember doing it too. I would have all-nighters at the game school. We would sleep on the 3rd floor, take 2 chairs together. We would sleep in the classroom and just crash inside the classroom, wake up and continue our projects. And then, we were really hardcore.
Man, I did the reverse of that. I did the wake up early, art all day, have lunch, art all the rest of the day, and then the partner would come home with food, like she would order food or whatever, and then we would watch a movie, eat that food, go to sleep, and I did that over and over every day for like 3 months, and then that's how I built my portfolio.
Yeah, that's what I do generally. Like
that's your everyday, right?
Yeah, that's. I wouldn't recommend it. Like you can do a normal work day, right? And then you can play in the evenings.
But here's the difference. I have no one to actually help me in my grocery, my cooking, my cleaning, my anything. I'm doing all of it as well on top of everything else.
There's no the same clothes forever.
Yeah. Or don't buy any more clothes.
Yeah.
No more webcam.
Oh, I don't know what to do about the food thing.
Powder.
Powder food.
Dude, life's all about food though. Life is all about food.
Yeah, I do need to make sure I eat properly, because I've noticed if you sacrifice well, your proteins and everything. My training doesn't work out. So they're just lifting stuff and nothing's happening. It's like
It's surprising how sensitive we are.
yeah, it's just stupid. And I can't do that, man. So now I'm like, okay, I need to do these 3 things, and then everything else is being scheduled around it. When you're younger, you don't notice it, but when you're 30, 35, 37, 38, you have to be more.
I'm pretty sure that's why I'm getting sick now.
Is it?
Yeah, like the food that I'm eating is just not healthy enough. The sleep patterns are fine, but like body fitness, terrible. Food,
Same.
terrible. I'm a trash panda. I love
Same.
I love
Trash
me
panda.
some trashy food.
Yep.
No, I haven't eaten a hamburger since Bordeaux when I was at Ubisoft, because then I was like, okay, fine, I'm abroad having fun. We didn't care. I drank every day almost. I had fun every day. I didn't do anything since I was at Ubisoft. Like, screw this. And it was 14 months just partying and having a good time, making friends and all these things, and just eating kebab and hamburger and all that. And then like 40 months later, I looked down and went, shit, that really caught up. I was like, damn, I got to really go back to my discipline. No sugar, eating vegetables and all those things, which I've done for 10 years. So that 40 months grew 15, 20 years of discipline, because I didn't eat sugar for 20 years, didn't eat shit for 20 years, no chips, no nothing. And I went there and I lost my discipline. I was like, that is such a major impact.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
It's crazy. But that's it, guys.
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
our stream today.
Eat food.
Yeah, I do need to cook a little bit as well, because it's like 9:42 here and I haven't cooked yet. But yeah, anything else, you guys can leave a question, and you can always join Jeremy's Discord, Dynasty. If you want to get a hold of him, you can join my Discord, which is Lightingbot, which unfortunately isn't as active as Jeremy's Discord, because I'm not as epic as him, but still I'm around. You know, or you can help me out if you
got
want
them
to.
skills. You got them lighting skills.
I just no, I don't know, man. And then you have Chris doing his streams as well. You know, you can meet him and support him on his stream as well, which all of these streams you can find over at DiNusty Empire announcement if you scroll there as well. So thank you for watching. If you have any question, you can get a hold of us, and hopefully you had an enjoyable conversation. I think this was a very good conversation. I had a great time for myself, at least.
It's good, yeah.
Yeah, it was fun.
And I will then close the stream and talk a little bit more with Chris and Jeremy before I let them go free to do their own things. And thanks for watching. Have a great week. See you guys around. Bye.